I am Darius, this is Sugarless Crystals, your sugar-free destination of YouTube. Enjoy me. Guilt-free. Indulge. 2019, Valentine's Day approaching. It is red velvet season. Yes. Oh my god, man. I love red velvet. Like, it's like, okay, so I got like 3 favorite cakes. Devil's food, German chocolate, and red velvet. Did you peep the connection of chocolate? Either way, red velvet is one of my favorites, hands down. And then I love the cream cheese icing, like that tanginess with the, all right, I won't get into it. We're gonna dive into this cookie and I'm gonna break it down as we're putting it together. Yeah, let's do that. By the way, full recipe details over at sugarlesscrystals.com, but you can get them here too. All right, so I use cocoa butter with this, all right? Anthony's, of course. I use cocoa butter and a mix of regular butter. Now, if you don't have cocoa butter, just simply add a tablespoon of butter in the place of that. I use 15 grams of cocoa butter and I use 3 tablespoons of regular unsalted butter. So we're gonna melt those and then we're gonna put them to the side for it to cool down, and we're gonna jump into our dry ingredients. So give me some almond flour. Let me get a little coconut flour. Okay, I'm calm now. All right, cocoa powder, and just a little bit. Now, those of you may have questions about regular cocoa powder, cacao powder, and Dutch processed cocoa. Now, the difference between all of these is the acidity level. Regular cocoa powder, or cacao powder, I guess you could say, being of the highest. The acidity in Dutch processed cocoa isn't the highest, but you'll get more of a rich chocolate flavor with that, and you'll get more of a reddish tint. And because of the lack of the acidity or alkaline or whatever, like, they're not the same thing either. Even though I just did that, they're not the same thing. But baking powder performs better with Dutch processed cocoa, and cocoa powder performs just fine with baking soda. So keep that in mind if you don't have any baking soda and you're using Dutch processed cocoa. So xanthan gum, baking soda, salt, monk fruit, or a sweetener of your choice. Now, for our wet, we're gonna bring back over our melted butter now. We need heavy whipping cream, vanilla, liquid stevia, and red food coloring. Stop for a second, okay? Red food coloring, let's talk about this for a second. It is so not necessary to use this. Like, I use it simply for the novelty of it, because if I made a red velvet cookie that wasn't red, everybody's gonna look at it like, oh my God, what is that? So no, I use red food coloring. But when I make it myself, which I will be doing, I've already made it twice, but when I make it for myself, I don't use red food coloring because it's not necessary. Now, back in the day when food products were actually really, really good, you got the red coloring because of the acidity between the cocoa powder and the buttermilk. It caused a reddish tint in the cake. The red velvet part, came from this red velvet texture. And I know entirely too much about this cake. Like, that really, I shouldn't know that much. We're gonna put together our dry and our wet ingredients, and it's gonna form a dough. Now, this dough you take and you stick in the fridge for about an hour. Now, it's not necessary you can make it straight out. Like, the reason of chilling the dough, it just gives the dough time to, like, the ingredients to really come together, and they'll be more flavorful. But if you're just ready to eat, man, forget it. Now, while it's doing that, you can make the cream cheese frosting that I did for it. And the cream cheese frosting is simply cream cheese, sour cream, and sweetener. Powdered sweetener at that. I didn't use granulated, I used powder. And when it comes to powder, you can use Swerve, or you can powder your own with a coffee grinder, such as I do myself. Now, these cookies, they came out very cake-like in a sense. Like, they're like cake-like and chewy at the same time. They're definitely not crunchy. And I double scooped these as well because, you know, it gave the option for texture. If you single scoop them, they're probably gonna be more, you're gonna get more of a crunchy type cookie. But to be honest, I don't think, because of the ingredients, I don't think they're gonna get crunchy at all. They're probably just gonna be thinner and have a slight crunch to them. You know, that stale cookie. When I tell you I love these, oh, that cacao butter comes through with that regular cocoa, and then the creaminess of the cream cheese, the tanginess of the cream cheese, not to mention the heavy whipping cream that's in there to add that extra vanilla flavor. Like, son, oh my God. This should have been illegal. I shouldn't even be able to make this. Like, you'll never be able to make something like that and put it on the shelf and it still tastes that way. That right there is strictly home cooked food. So as I said, like, it has a nice chewy texture to it and it's cake-like soft. But you can tell, like, it's not, that one was in the refrigerator for a little bit because I cooked these like a couple days ago. But it had like a very cake-like soft texture. Now when they first come out the oven, the outside is a little hard, like a little, like in the hard, like crunchy. But of course, when you dig on the inside, like it's just like soft. And when it comes to red velvet and keto, like I was always so skeptical, like, can you really pull it off without milk? And then you have heavy cream aspect, and you know, to put heavy cream with those flours, like it's a little risky because of the high fat content, but I won't dive too deep into that. 2019, I'm gonna talk a little bit less, my little ramblings, and we're gonna focus like strictly on the meal. No, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But that will be it for today. If you enjoyed this recipe, give it a thumbs up, and if you're looking for it, it will be in the description box below, along with all my other recipes, my blog posts, my reviews, and Sugarless Crystals t-shirts. Grab yourself one, head into the kitchen and get messy. And you know what? I'm looking for a new merchandiser. I'm not a chef. No. I'm an entertainer. Bye. Oh, and by the way, I did not use beet powder because it affects the taste. I have an old red velvet fat bomb recipe that I did that was from Healthy Gaming Girl, my friend Liz. Y'all should know her by now. And she used beet powder. There's nothing wrong with it at all, but I didn't want that beet powder flavor in my cookie. The beet powder actually will just make it red for you too. But that's another story.